Risk, and right now you're listening to episode 11 of Koppai Podcast, the all Nintendo podcast here on youtube.com/KazRisk, soundcloud.com/KazRisk, and iTunes, the Kaz Risk Gamescast. I am joined once again by Mr. Koppai himself, Zak Risk.
Hello, Koppai Nation.
Oh, Koppai!
Koppai!
Koppai! I can just picture like all these martial arts guys just fighting.
Koppai!
Triforce Hero. Anyway, we have a bunch of, well, not actually, there's like no news this week. I was gonna say a bunch of news, but no, there's different things we can talk about and stuff. It's been a little bit of a slower week. Nintendo has the tendency to drop little news bombs and then just retreat back into the shadows, just close in on themselves and be all mysterious and all that again. But that doesn't stop us from kind of prying deep into the interwebs and untangling these interwebs and finding some little information to uncover. And without further adu, we're going to hop straight into it with, of course, a Koppai tradition, some Super Mario Maker discussion. Super Mario Maker! Yeah, wait, that's the wrong theme song. Anyway, Super Mario Maker updates are out. If you have a Wii U and if you have Super Mario Maker, you can go update your game right now and get those updates. And it adds a little bit of a nice reason to revisit the game. Maybe you created a bunch of levels or played a bunch of levels and you were like, oh man, like I don't have any ideas left. Maybe a checkpoint will help you out, or maybe some of the new stacked power-ups will help, or maybe event courses or something like that, because that's what's included in the update. Checkpoints are now added if you shake the arrow icon of the little objects and stuff. And then there's also new sprites for the Super Mario Brothers theme, one of which is being the totem pole Link. I saw was one. One of them I really want there to be now is, I was on Reddit the other day, on the Nintendo Reddit, and they have the little Reddit guy as an icon on that website, but I want him to actually be one in there. But yeah, the cool thing about this update is that some of you I know are complaining, or were complaining, that it's harder to find people's courses, or find good courses. The online community is very much so saturated with some pretty poorly designed levels, and it makes it hard to find the ones of people that actually give a crap about the game. And so the new event courses, or kind of the filter system, allows you to find some kind of highlighted spotlight creators, I believe. One of which, Zach, you found a story on, if you want to touch on that, someone that's kind of been showcased recently.
Yeah, not as familiar in the Western states and Europe and America, but in Japan there's this popular manga that has been running, I guess, for 25 years now, called the Super Mario Kun manga, and it's on its 25th anniversary. It was created by this Sawada person. I'm not too familiar with the manga, but
Our
it does...
apologies if he's like a huge deal and people in the comment section now like, it's Sawada!
Yeah, well, from the story I read, it seemed like, it's not as familiar in, like, where we're from, over here in America. So, but it does seem interesting because it has this cool little, the creator Sawada has made a level in Mario Maker, and once you beat it, you get this 25th anniversary special costume of this Mario stylized, like he is in this manga, and it seems pretty cute. And there's a little trailer that showcases like his little animations of like going through water and just running and jumping and all that, and it's just pretty cute and a fun thing that everybody can take part in if you just go over to the event course and beat the level. The costume will unlock for you, and it's pretty cool. Just another little costume and another level to play, because I haven't gone and played it yet, but I'm excited to go and just see what it's so cool to just find, like, especially like everybody making levels is really cool, but then to just play like actual like game developer levels. And I went and tried that Ship of Love Facebook level, and that was just really cool, just because it's like some really creative genius minds are developing it, and it's just cool to see and get inspiration from like not a total stranger, not just some 14-year-old kid or something. It's more of like actually a team of people that made this level and things like that. So there's some really cool. On like the downside of that, I did play like Mario's level, and it was like what the heck am I playing? What is this?
I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you sent like a video or something. I think I saw even someone else like tweet or Instagram online about that. And it's just
It's
that's the
like,
thing.
no.
You
Yeah.
know, it's just like that's the whole point and stuff of just complete chaos. Like it was probably like calling out the people that do that online. Like that's all the expert levels. It's not so much
Yeah.
expertly crafted stuff. It's just chaos,
Yeah.
and that's not expert. Like
Yeah,
expert.
I couldn't do any more of hers after that. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, so that's kind of I think that's awesome that they even have that as an option and stuff. And I honestly didn't even know that there's a Mario making levels until they had that. Maybe she wasn't until that point. But yeah, that's a really cool reason to go back to the game. I'm probably gonna go back. I haven't had a rush of inspiration. Been busy with like Fallout and stuff.
Yeah.
Which if you want to listen to a Fallout podcast, head over to NukaCast every Monday at 11 a.m. or I don't know when I post it on Mondays, but it's every Monday. But been busy with that game, and I think I'm going to go back over kind of the Christmas holiday season and really maybe dive back into that, use the checkpoints, recreate some of my old levels, maybe with some different skins and different themes, and just republish them with the extra space I have. Because I have quite a bit of stars with my question block level.
Yeah.
I think we're both in the 400s now.
Yeah.
And so really excited to go back to that. And I also know that there's like some people I follow. Ken, the Super Smash Brothers King, made some pretty insane levels. I played a couple of those the other day for a Let's Play video, which unfortunately got corrupted and was able to publish. But he has levels where I think they have like a point like 0.000% clear rate. Like so many people try them and it's just impossible. Like not like that it's glitched out or anything. It's just you have to be insanely quick, insanely precise, and just do it a lot. Like there's certain things that are cheap deaths and all that, but you are able to avoid them once you've experienced them, and you just got to know how to play Mario. And it's just insane to have someone like to know that he beat it glitch free is just insane. Like that he is able to pull that off, and so um, especially go try those out and stuff. And other levels like Per Schneider from IGN has been continuously posting, and I'm kind of just letting those accumulate up. So by the time I do return to the game, it's almost like a whole new Mario game is waiting for me through the community levels and all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on in the little bit of news. There's a new Wii U holiday bundle. Unless, wait, did you want to say anything about Super Mario Maker, or I didn't mean to
Well,
cut you off if you like had anything to add and
there
stuff.
was that thing we didn't really touch on about there's that flagpole glitch. It's not too much, but I
Oh
just
yeah,
thought maybe we should just mention it quickly. It's just that if you have like you can do this weird thing where you block off like you can you can start off a level. It's on Game Explain's channel. You can check out they did a little let's play and it's really simple. You just run across and hit the top of the flag, but it's blocked off. The bottom's blocked off by blocks, but when you die and respawn, you then appear at the bottom of the flag, which since it's blocked off, you can put yourself in a secret area or in a different area, and it's not like a game breaking like the invincibility glitch, because there's like still it's like you can be really trolly with it. Like the guy just had a hidden vine to beat it without it, because there's like this go around. But yeah, you can check that out on Game Explain. But
yeah.
there's a yeah.
They fortunately didn't make it too broken with the checkpoint flags for that glitch because you still have to beat the game
Right.
from after the checkpoint glitch, and so that's kind of nice. Like it's not too much of a glitch, more of an exploit for some pretty just weird levels and stuff.
Well, and
Um,
also it's like, well, that first one that he did, the guy shows like, and I don't know how he did it in the wave. One of them is like when you still did it, you would just die immediately, and so then you'd go back and you'd spawn and could finish the level. But the first one he did was you just go through, and it was a dead end, and you couldn't do anything. It was like seemingly you can't beat this level. The only way was to like start over or to find that hidden vine, and so like you can do
Uh,
some.
yeah, there's like levels like that even without the checkpoint thing
Yeah.
where I could make a level right now where it's one screen long
Yeah.
and the
Yeah, I played
flagpole's
some
at the other
levels.
end, and
Yeah.
it's just like I think there's even some levels online where you can't beat without the super mushroom, like the mushroom where
Yeah.
you like touch the 25th or 30th anniversary Mario to the gamepad.
Yeah.
I've seen levels like that and stuff where it's you have to have that in order to beat it, and it's just like that seems kind of uncool that they would even have those ones available without having without putting that mushroom directly in the level.
Yeah. Or like I mean you can easily do things like where you just hide a hidden vine and only you really know where it's placed and there's like
Yeah.
no way to beat the level without knowing where your little hidden vine is and you think you're
Yeah,
so
there's
clever.
yeah, people you're just posting online with the most mischievous face like
If you can beat my level, I'll start all of your courses. It's like,
yeah.
no thanks.
Yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous. But okay, yeah. So be aware of that. But that's not as bad as the big thing is that through this update, they patched out the other exploits that we've mentioned in previous Koppai podcasts, with the whole like teleporting thing and stuff like that, and being invincible.
Yeah.
Those levels now that was patched out, and so those levels are completely unbeatable. And unless they've been reported, they haven't been deleted. And so if you do come across one that seems particularly impossible, don't feel any shame in skipping it. Like,
Yeah.
I think those levels are a little bit clear to figure out like what one's based off a glitch and what one's just hard. And just feel free to skip those and make sure you're reporting them and stuff if there's like even a report option or like send those into like Nintendo support or something to maybe get those removed because those are just it's just silly to base your level off or off a glitch like that. An exploit I think is fine because that kind of I don't know, can be cool for certain people, like that they have to know that exploit, but
Yeah.
glitches and stuff that are going to be patched out and make your level completely impossible are just uncool. So don't feel those if you can. But moving on, good job bringing that up and stuff. That was nice to be able to touch on.
Yeah.
Moving on though, now new Wii U holiday bundles are available. A Super Smash Bros. / Splatoon Smash Splat Deluxe bundle for 280. Hold, I didn't read that when I was looking over the notes. That's a great bundle.
Yeah, it is.
That if you don't have a Wii U now,
Mhm. Yeah.
Super Smash Bros. And Splatoon are by far two of the best games I've played this generation, including PS4. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, those Smash Bros is by far a 10 out of 10 masterpiece of a game, and Splatoon is surprisingly fun. I did not realize how fun Splatoon would be
Yeah, well
until I.
those two games are I guess excluding Mario Kart 8, those two are hands down the best competitive online
Mhm.
games for the Wii U. And
And yeah, and I think I mean, as much as I do love Mario Kart, like Mario Kart can be very much so luck based.
right.
Splatoon and Smash Bros are very just pure competitive. Like
Yeah.
there's a few times like with your team, but even if you do squad battles where it's you and your friend on Splatoon, like that's all just pure skill
Yeah.
and knowing the game. And Smash Bros with for glory mode is all skill. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, definitely pick up that bundle if you don't have a Wii U yet. The new 3DS XL, red or black, is available for 280. A pretty good deal, not too much
Yeah,
knocked off for that.
180.
Oh yeah, 180. My bad. And there will be a gold Zelda new Nintendo 3DS XL for $200 this holiday, a GameStop exclusive. I believe it's that one with like the kind of Triforce
Yeah, yeah.
embellishments and stuff.
Makes sense for the
Yeah,
Triforce Heroes.
yeah, for the Triforce Heroes, a game for scholars and intelligent people worldwide. I still that game's out, right?
Yeah.
I, I don't even care. I honestly I know it. I know there's probably someone in the comment section that loves it or played it or whatever and wants to give it a chance. And I feel bad for being a Nintendo podcast and be hating on something Nintendo, but no one's talking about that game.
Yeah.
People were talking about A Link Between Worlds when that
Yeah,
came out.
they were.
Like people are talking about Twilight HD, Triforce, and even Hyrule Warriors. I loved Hyrule Warriors. It's not that I'm like strict like purist Zelda, but that's just there's honestly just so little appeal to that besides
Yeah.
the name Zelda on
It's
it.
kind of sad that the game that everybody's talking about a game that's like not even announced or guaranteed to even be coming out. The Zelda people are talking about is Twilight Princess HD when there's a brand new Zelda game out on 3DS, which is
Yeah,
a little bit sad.
and yeah, that's just and maybe that's why they honestly didn't do Twilight H like they haven't announced that yet. They're waiting for the marketing of Triforce Heroes to be gone.
Yeah. But I don't
But
know. They just announced that or revealed that holiday trailer where basically the entire focus is three little links climbing up on a tree and like shooting an arrow to make the Triforce on on the Christmas tree, and it's like this holiday season get Super Smash Brothers, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and Triforce Heroes, on the
Yeah.
3DS, and it's
Oh,
like
I
that's
think
their.
I don't think did I ever say I don't think I thought maybe I did at one point. I don't think Twilight Princess HD will be this holiday. I think
Yeah,
it.
you don't. You mentioned that you think that they'd need a lot more time, and I agree with that. Uh, I don't, because even Kimishima just came out and said it's interesting his point about Mitomo and how he said they need 2 months. It seems like kind of his philosophy about a game and just Nintendo's philosophy is they usually take about 2 months to promote a game and to have it known and at least to get people to understand what's going on. And I would think, even though people know and understand what Twilight Princess is, I think that I agree that they would probably have at least more time than, I mean, unless they'd have to do their direct, like, drop it here very soon, like tomorrow or Monday. But I can't see them doing that. And also, I agreed with somebody left a comment last week in the comment section about how they like didn't think they would. I forget exactly what the comment was, but I'm kind of pulling a blank there. But um, they said I wouldn't. What they say about the staggered release or something
Oh
about?
yeah, that Twilight. Well, they were talking more about the staggered release of Zelda Wii U slash NX,
Oh
where
yeah,
they thought the Wii U one would come first and all that.
yeah.
Um, but no, I mean I think Twilight Princess HD would be in that kind of lull of like the next like this upcoming kind of January, February, March time, or sometime after that, prior to E3.
Yeah.
Similar to where when Majora's Mask came out, kind of in that time period. Um, and so along with Star Fox Zero. But yeah, moving on though. I mean, yeah, I don't get Triforce Heroes. I don't get the appeal. I see the kind of charm in the single playerness. I know how it would be fun with other people, but even unless you're in the same room with two other people, dedicating time to playing through this campaign and through the quests and stuff, I just don't see it. Like that's not like because you need. It's not like a quick Mario Kart game where I'm in the same room with you or something, and I want to do Mario Kart or Smash Bros. Or even Mario Golf World Tour, where that's like a fun game to do online stuff. Like this is dedicated dungeons and stuff like that, and it's just I don't know. I'll
Oh
probably get it eventually because I just will,
yeah.
but it'll be a long time, and
I
I don't know.
I just did pull up that comment, and the comment was from Wolfgang 630, and what he was actually talking about was how last week we talked about, and it does relate to the whole 2 month thing about how Smash Wii U was announced so late,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
between its
I think
announcement.
I even replied to that and addressed
Yeah,
that.
and I did agree with his comment that we did know like Smash was coming. This is a little bit different than that, but yeah, we knew for sure that Smash was going to be a holiday release, and like there was really no doubt about that. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was a good point. I just thought I should point that out. That because last week I was a little more like thinking it almost sounded like they could have done it and actually
yeah.
just been announcing it soon. But yeah, I just want to take that back, I guess, and I agree with you guys. But yeah,
Yeah,
moving
Wolfgang,
on
and
from
once again,
Triforce
just thanks.
Heroes.
Yeah, thanks for the support, Wolfgang. He's been commenting quite frequently, so I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
But yeah, moving on. Pick up that gold 3DS though. If you don't have a new 3DS, I think that's a pretty good bundle.
Yeah,
And I
just
would,
any Zelda 3DS is beautiful.
and they usually tend to be pretty valuable in the future. We have the Majora's Mask ones, which,
Yes.
oh man, those are
We
just.
really lucked out on those.
We did. We have the Pip Boy editions of Fallout 4. And we have the Majora's Mask 3DS. And we have like some of the rarest amiibo and all that.
And we have
Whatever.
like Molag Ball
Yeah,
holding up.
Molag Ball, and I have Alduin. I also have the Walter White bobblehead, so no big deal or anything. Speaking of amiibo, though, and rare collectibles, the Ike amiibo are returning to stock.
Yes,
Yeah,
good news for me.
yeah.
And
I don't think I have the Ike one yet. I don't have like any of the Fire Emblem ones yet, so I need to get on those. But yeah,
yeah.
this is just reiterating the news. I don't want to dwell on this too much, but once again, just another clap to Nintendo. They've been doing very well with the amiibo situation. I
Oh
haven't
yeah.
haven't had really any complaints on that front for quite a while. I
Cause
always
yeah,
go list.
I went to Toys R Us not that long ago, and just they had this restocking of several amiibo, and I saw Fox there, and there was uh
Wow.
there was a complete like so many Shulk that it was just like It
Yeah.
was like he's no longer rare at all. And there was 2 Captain Falcons, so I was able to get a Shulk and a Captain Falcon, and it was really cool to see the a fox down there too. And so there's definitely getting some more restock. They've actually like, because at first they said, yeah, we're sending out some restockings, and I was like, I'm just not seeing it. And now finally it's like, okay, they made it to our little corner of America, and I'm finally starting to see it. So yeah, props to Nintendo for actually holding up and restocking some of these rare amiibo, because that was ridiculous for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that was ridiculous, and people complained, and the cool thing is there's just a response to it. That's just so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see like what others get restocked maybe for the holiday season. So those are going out. But speaking of Shovel Knight and the oops crap, darn it, the amiibo and holiday season, Shovel Knight is getting an amiibo. We've talked about this and covered this in the past. I actually just got my PS4 copy of Shovel Knight on the retail thing the other day. It smelled really good. I'm just saying, like it had like a noticeable like factory sealed smell to it.
Huh.
And so that was really nice. Just have the physical edition of Shovel Knight came with the soundtrack. I'm
Hot
super
off the
pumped.
press.
It honestly, it seemed like it kind
Yeah.
of was like that they just like melted together the plastic around the game. Like that was the first game I really noticed. And there was also some dilemma with that, like where they had to like halt certain manufacturing things and change certain things to make it so it was released on a certain time and at $25 or something because they didn't want it to be a cheap $20 bin game. Lots of cool stuff behind that, or not cool necessarily, but just interesting nonetheless. But speaking of Shovel Knight, though, and the amiibo situation, there's a rumor that the amiibo could actually be coming out as early as December 18th. We had previously heard that the amiibo was coming, and we didn't know exactly when. And with the Super Smash Bros. Ballot, we've talked about this all in the past, but that would make sense for kind of a December 18th Shovel Knight ballot addition to Smash Bros. And maybe a direct sometime in the near future with that announcement. And so, very, very interesting. I would not be surprised if that rumor was true. Once again, I mean, it doesn't really matter, I don't think, unless you're super, super eager for that amiibo.
Yeah.
But I don't think like I don't mean that think the rumor means one thing or another. Like I could take it or leave it this upcoming month or in a couple months or whatever. But definitely interesting nonetheless. With the holiday season kind of lacking some flair, if that were to come, that'd be a big boost for Nintendo because, as I just mentioned, like I just got Shovel Knight on PS4. Like a lot of people are kind of enjoying that game on the other consoles. Nintendo needs to pull that back to their Wii U console since that was initially its kind of bread and butter. Moving on, speaking of the holiday season, we also have a 30th anniversary Mario Snow Globe coming. Neat.
Yeah, not sure where that's gonna be or what, but it's out there. It'll be out there. There'll be a Mario 30th anniversary snow globe you can get.
I think
Anybody
that's
like?
cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Like,
Is there pictures of it online?
I didn't see any. All I saw was the announcement of it, but it'd be cool. Like any Nintendo fans, like for a stocking stuffer or just something cool for a Nintendo themed Christmas. I definitely think that's cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't see any pictures of it online here. Just doing a quick
Yeah,
Google search and stuff. But no, I think that'll be cool. Like
yeah,
I I don't know. I'd be the kind of person that'd be interested in getting something like that because I just love Nintendo and love decorating my like kind of corner of the world and all that with that.
hmm
But I also kind of to prepare for may have like a wife soon, and I don't know how thrilled she would be with a Mario snow globe on like
Mario
our
actually would be like, I don't know if I've seen him too much like dressed up as Santa, but man, he could be in like several like Santa Claus pose like outfits, and just I could see him totally like on a sleigh and like Koopa Troopas flying that are his reindeer or something like
or
something like
honestly
that.
just riding Yoshi
Yeah,
like
Yoshi reindeer or something like
or
that, all the
yeah,
different
little Yoshi
colors.
reindeer, and then
Yeah.
Mario, and then like just like behind him like question block presents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, why is that
Oh.
like not the consistent marketing campaign every single Christmas for Nintendo?
We're giving Nintendo ideas here, and that's why they need to come on. Like, Bill
Yeah,
Trinan.
Bill Trinan, if you're listening. Oh man, I'm gonna tag him in the tweet of this Koppai, be like Bill Trinan, $1 million idea. Listen to podcast
Yeah.
around that 20. What is it? 24 mark, 25 mark.
Yeah.
$1 million idea. We'll to like make the thumbnail or something like Santa Mario or something. But no, all right, here, let me pull back up my notes. I was looking for the snow globe because I was so excited. Moving on in the news though, yeah, that's a fun announcement. Definitely something to check out. I wonder how much it'll be. If it's pretty cheap or something, or I don't know. That would be a better Club Nintendo reward than, or I guess Nintendo account reward. But moving on in the news, Nintendo Europe has confirmed via Twitter that Splatoon fans will be getting a new weapon this weekend. The new weapon has been revealed as the Heavy Splatling Deco and should prove to be a beast on the battlefield. The weapon is rumored to have a point sensor and Kraken ability. It can be unlocked at level 9 and can apparently be bought for 9,200 gold.
And
Um,
I guess that means it'll I think it's coming out like this weekend as for recording. So
It'll be
by
out by the time you,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's a consistent thing for Splatoon. We haven't really covered that too much in the past with the other previous Koppai podcasts. But Splatoon, if you haven't got that game yet, maybe you're getting the holiday bundle, or you haven't been playing it too much since the initial release, or I don't, it just whatever situation you're in. Be sure to always check back at the salesman and stuff for the weapons. I forget his name, Sheldon, I think it is, or something like that. Or I think he's the armor guy, or maybe he is the ammunition guy or whatever. But every weekend or almost every weekend they do have like a new weapon of sorts, which is really cool, usually improved upon or different kind of settings and ranges and stuff for previous weapons that you may have already had. And so this one seems to be the Splatling, which we've had in the past, but with the deco kind of art design and the heavy adjective on there probably makes it so it'll be probably a little bit slower but more powerful. And so definitely cool to check out. Once again, Splatoon, just a game that we can't encourage enough here over at the Koppai Nation. Moving forward to some more kind of vague, interesting topics that have been kind of floating around for quite a while, but we want to address as we wrap up the Koppai podcast. It may be a little bit shorter this week, but the Sony PlayStation, uh, the Sony PlayStation Nintendo prototype was real. I think we may have actually discussed that in the past. I'm not quite sure actually.
Like maybe one of
Uh,
our first episodes, maybe
yeah,
we
we
briefly talked about it.
yeah, we've always talked about that kind of concept of, I think, Nintendo and Sony at one time being like one, like playing around with the idea of being one company and how that would have faced like against Sega and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We've talked about that in the past, and we'll actually talk about Sega here in a little bit. But anyway, in recent weeks and months, it was revealed, or maybe even this past year, it was revealed that there was an actual prototype of kind of this hybrid console of and kind of I think it was the SNES and yeah the SNES and the PlayStation, what came to be the PlayStation 1. Turns out that prototype was real. It can play the SNES cartridges, and we were going to give our thoughts on it. Zach, what are your kind of initial thoughts on that? Just the whole hybrid console thing and what that would have been.
Yeah, that's just really crazy to think. Looking at the screenshots again of the actual console, I just thought it was interesting to note. Like, I just thought it was crazy how many actual like it's so non-Nintendo looking to me. Like when I look at it, it's got Sony here, Sony there, Sony there. It seems in a way I feel like it didn't happen because in a way Sony seemed to be taking advantage of Nintendo in a way, and I don't know. It seemed like it was almost their way of latching on, trying to take some control over what Nintendo was doing and get into the video game market. And I could see them having done maybe some damage to Nintendo if they would have actually gone through with it in the end. I'm not sure. It would have been so crazy. Like I wish that I would like to think that it would have been an actual like awesome thing and they would have learned from each side and it would have
Yeah.
created like a really awesome ecosystem, but it seemed in a way like it was a way of almost like trying to take Nintendo down in a way or just get control over them or just make money off of them and use their success in the video game market and kind of get a easy ride in or something. And but I don't know. It's kind of just speculation and just we don't know too much except that I know a little bit of the story and I don't remember all the details, but Nintendo got upset something about like they were not very happy about something and then behind Sony's back or maybe it was something with where they went to Panasonic and there was this huge like little drama and rift, and so
Yeah.
and PlayStation decided like we're gonna be super successful because in spite of Nintendo.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome. I love that kind of history behind it because I believe what happened was it was actually like before, like at like kind of like a um like entertainment expo sort of thing, or electronic expo, or one of those kind of gadget kind of events and stuff. What is it, like CSS or not? I forget what that conference is.
yeah, something like
Uh,
that. Consumer
but
CES,
yeah,
consumer.
CES.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it was like some like I think it was like one of those events or something where they're supposed to go on like and announce their deal,
yeah.
like very very shortly. And Nintendo was like, by the way, we're doing this with Panasonic, not with you. And it
Uh-huh.
was like, I mean, very last minute. I think maybe not necessarily like with Nintendo, like that probably wasn't last minute. They'd probably been like kind of bouncing back and forth for a while. But I
Uh-huh.
think to Sony, it was very much like a shot in the face, where it's just, whoa, what? And
Well, it seemed to me
I'm not
like
gonna
that's
pretend. Yeah, go ahead.
well, it seemed to me like in a way when thinking about that story and then seeing like the logo all over the console, seeing like Sony, like I seriously counted the logo 3 times just looking at the overhead shot, and there was no Nintendo logo at all, and it was just like
Yeah,
that's interesting, and it almost seems like Nintendo like caught on a little bit late and was just like, you know what, screw you guys, like we're not gonna do this because we realize what you're doing and your end game is like money
yeah.
and
But I mean, it's a business, and
yeah, yeah,
I definitely that could have been definitely a factor of it. But I mean, at the same time, like the top half of it is kind of the PlayStation part of it, and the bottom part it looked like was kind of the
yeah, it is,
SNES.
it's totally, yeah, it's a prototype, I guess, so I have to give him that. And like I tried to like it's total speculation, we don't know too much, it was
Yeah,
just kind of like
we're not scholars by any means on
right,
like the history of. I mean, I do really really still want to check out that Console Wars book, and that will probably be we're experimenting with the idea of some bonus Koppai episodes in the future. That may be like just a complete separate discussion and stuff, like just the whole concept of that Console Wars and looking back on that history.
yeah,
That'd be just an awesome episode to really dive into that for about an hour and do maybe like a book review or something of the Console Wars and address that sort of concept of the fight between Sega and Nintendo, and then how kind of Sony came into the ring and all of that. But yeah, I don't. If there's any two consoles I'd love to combine, like, or if Nintendo, people always speculate, and it's not going to happen, but if people always speculate what would happen if Nintendo stopped doing consoles and went with a console manufacturer now, I would want it to be PlayStation over Xbox, and I don't see that necessarily to like diminish my respect or look at Microsoft. I feel like just Microsoft and has a very cool focus right now. It seems kind of separate from Sony, where Microsoft seems to be more of that kind of Windows 10 philosophy and or focus, where it's an all-in-one hub of entertainment, where it's not necessarily like the Xbox One, for example, in its name is the Xbox All-in-One, where it's not necessarily a gaming console, it's a TV box and it's a sports box and it's a Windows 10 port like kind of TV edition, and it's does play games, but it also connects with your PC, which also connects with your Windows phone, and
right,
it seems like it does video games very well. Don't get me wrong. Like Halo 5, I hear is fantastic and stuff, like with its multiplayer. I heard iffy things about the campaign, but the multiplayer is fantastic. And 343 did a beautiful job designing the game. And the Tomb Raider game that's coming out is an awesome, timed exclusive. And Sunset Overdrive is a game that I still like. I'm so envious of that we don't have. I'm not playing fanboy here, but it seems like PlayStation, because of maybe Sony's misfortune in other areas of their entertainment business, PlayStation is just their bread and butter right now, and because of that, it's getting all of their focus, and because of that, it's just rocking games, 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 games.
yeah,
Which is ironic because I guess it doesn't have any first party game that came out this year. But at the same time, through its marketing, through its focus, through its support, through its online community, through the PlayStation blog, through Podcast Beyond and PS I Love You XOXO. It just seems like that's such the PlayStation community is just seems like I don't know. And I don't want to offend anyone through all this, but it just seems like a place for gamers.
yeah.
And if there's any place where I'd want Mario to appear outside of a Wii U or an NX, it would be on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And it seems like that would make sense for him to be next to Sackboy and Nathan Drake and all of them.
Well, it
And
just makes sense, just like you kind of said, just because they're so rocking it, like in terms of sales and everything, just from a marketing business perspective, if they were to go with anybody, it would make sense to go with the most successful current
yeah,
like console maker.
and
Unless they wanted to break through that threshold of like getting on like PC and Steam as well, which would be a more like Microsoft move. But I could see them like not wanting to do that and being more like, totally like it's never going to happen, but if they were to suddenly like not go on a personal console, I could see them wanting to still stick to like a console or like a more video game like centric thing, like you say, about just how they're very focused on that. And Xbox has done a much more like blending with PC thing lately.
yeah, and it seems like also, I don't know, it seems like PlayStation through I guess maybe it's because I'm not so much as familiar with the Xbox One structure, but it seems like PlayStation does have like a lot of kind of a retro vibe to it sometimes with their games, or not necessarily with their games, but like I don't know, you see Mega Man much more at home on PlayStation and the Sega Genesis collection on PlayStation, and maybe it's also because we got so burnt with Rare going to Microsoft. I just feel so hesitant for Nintendo to go to Microsoft. And even though recently Nintendo or Microsoft did really well with Rare Replay, it doesn't change the fact that Banjo Kazooie was slaughtered. Like
Yeah.
completely slaughtered. You can't. I mean, even if Nuts and Bolts is a good game, that doesn't change the fact that's all we got. Like
Uh-huh.
Banjo Kazooie should have been a consistent IP that consistently came out the same way Mario's been coming out. And the fact that he did Nuts and Bolts and then left was just, I don't know, so sad. And that we have to get Ukulele in order to get that creativity back of Rare and Playtonic and stuff.
Yeah.
And that you don't see that with like Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog did Crash, and then they did Jack, and then they did Uncharted, and they did The Last of Us. Like they've been treated well with PlayStation. And
Yeah.
really, and even with Microsoft, really the only person that you see consistently through the ages is Gears of War and Halo. At least that I see like in the grand scheme of things, and even Halo lost Bungie.
Yeah.
Like it's just not nearly as established or something and long running as something like PlayStation and Sony and Nintendo. And so, yeah, that's definitely an interesting future to explore, though. And looking back on that prototype, it really kind of gets me going as far as what could have been and what could be still. Speaking of all of that, though, as we wrap up Koppai podcast, and speaking of that kind of console wars, and Sega. From this last week, the Wii U has surpassed the Dreamcast sales, 10.73, I'm assuming million, compared to 10.6 million. It took Nintendo a little bit longer though to get there, which is absolutely pathetic, honestly.
Yeah.
To take even longer to get to those. I think from what I remember, wasn't it like didn't Dreamcast get that in about like 18 months or so, or even less? And
Yeah.
it took Nintendo like years to get to that mark, and even that was barely. And when you look back on the Dreamcast and what it had, like
Yeah.
that it was even like at a time where honestly people weren't buying consoles as I think as frequently and stuff. Like,
Well, I don't know. I was just thinking actually, you got to give the fact that I think one factor maybe in the quickness of the Dreamcast selling and then maybe why it dropped off so much is that in 99 or when it came out or was it like zeros or was it like the actually like New Year's Eve
it
99?
was September 9th, 1989,
Oh, okay.
99999.
Okay. Yeah, at that time, I think still like in with Sonic Adventure being like a launch title and stuff, like I think that 3D gaming and how fresh and new it was and exciting and just
Yeah.
like new graphics and how we were still in this like transitionary period of like didn't they get it out like a little bit before the PS2 or like they were one of the first like and I just think like just that excitement it's died down a bit and like it's
Mhm.
not as revolutionary and I think that one factor maybe for like the Dreamcast's initial like super success was people just like rushing on to a next like at that time the fever for a beautiful system. And Dreamcast, I think Sega did. We always used to talk about how they seemed a little bit ahead of their time and just
Well, yeah.
the
Well, even dad,
polish.
like, it's kind of cool to hear dad's perspective on it because, like, our dad did grow up through, like, he started, I think, kind of just at the start of the console, like, or kind of the home gaming entertainment thing. He was there for that and kind of watched it evolve and was always buying us the consoles and kind of participating those in himself. And he kind of backed off around the Dreamcast era. Like, Super Mario 64 was kind of his farewell, you know,
Yeah.
and kind of passed it on to us as far as playing games. But even he, like, we'll talk about gaming with him now. Like, still, like, when I go back and visit home and when you get lunch with him from time to time, like, we talk about the games and stuff. And if you ever bring up graphics with him or hardware or console development or anything, I mean, it'll be like almost out of context. He'll find a way to bring up the Dreamcast
Yeah.
because he's like, I just remember the Dreamcast. And I just remember how that was so ahead of its time, and
Yeah.
no one seemed to realize it. Like, no one seemed to be buying that. No one seemed to be having it. Like, you guys had that at school and stuff, and no one else had Dreamcast. We were talking about them, but you guys did. And playing Sonic Adventure on that, like, that game looked so much better than anything else you could find at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just so unfortunate that Sega had to drop out that way because that would be cool to have a fourth person like to have the Dreamcast 2015 and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
they just had the coolest names, and just Sonic was so cool. Like, it's
Yeah.
weird lately the hate Sonic's been getting. I think um, IGN recently did a feature with like the 100 best games of all time, and there was like no Sonic on there or like really little Sonic. And someone was talking on like the Game Scoop where they're looking back on it, and it's like that's because Sonic games suck. And it's like, what? Like, how
Yeah.
can you say that? And like, if you look back at it without like nostalgia glasses, you'll realize that Sonic sucks. And it's like, no, he doesn't. Sonic's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Even
Especially
without,
that original trilogy is just
yeah.
classic.
And I think it's so fun. You very much so love it, even more than me, and I love it so much. I mean, Sonic is an iconic design. That kind of, what was it? The cat design, and then like Mickey Mouse's body or something,
Yeah,
and
Michael Jackson's shoes.
yeah, and like, isn't it also kind of like Michael Jackson's gloves or something?
Yeah.
And yeah, just Sonic. I mean, my roommate just got PlayStation Now, and he was able to play through like Sonic Generations and stuff. And it's just like even Sonic Generations is just so incredible
Mhm.
and such a fluid and fun game. And even like the 3D kind of perspective in that is just so perfect. Like, yeah, I'm really hoping to see more from Sonic in the future, which leads us to our closing thought, which we were hoping to address last week, is in some other quick news related to Sega that we were going to touch on last week. Sega has quote, Sega has publicly apologized to the fans as the quality of console games in the Sonic franchise hasn't, should be haven't, isn't it? I don't know, been acceptable over the recent years. Quote, it's been tough translating that iconic side scrolling 3D experience into from the 90s into 3D, but Sonic is still huge for us. So the new games will be more inspired by how it played in its heyday. I saw some comments on this initial article. Who was it that said this? Do you know? Just like one of the PR
It
guys? Like,
was like Sega's marketing director.
yeah.
I don't recall the name exactly, but yeah, I believe that's right. The Sega marketing director had
Um,
some like, it was the article said like it was a surprisingly like honest um, take because
I don't know.
Sega for the longest time recently hasn't been this blunt about you know about saying this about like that they've actually admitting and stepping up and saying like we didn't do Sonic justice recently.
Yeah, it's weird. I read the comments on the initial article that this was shared on, and it seemed like people were like 2016. Sega apologizes for Sonic 27, like 2007. Sega apologizes for Sonic 20
Yeah.
or 2008. Like, and it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it
guess I,
is. It does seem like something that we've heard several times. It seems like pretty much it's always their marketing thing that they use is like finally it's like that classic Sonic you love like is
yeah.
every single time like Sonic Colors, Sonic Advance was this way, Sonic Generations actually finally did it like correctly,
Sonic
but
Colors did good, but yeah, Sonic Generations is that should be an annualized or every other
yeah.
year or
Or and
whatever.
they
Like,
also tried to do Sonic the Hedgehog the 4, the episode 1 and 2, which was another like attempt just not that long ago of revitalizing the classic style, which I thought they did a pretty good job on those games. The first one
Yeah.
is really wonky in
Yeah.
certain physic ways, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Sonic Generations is still one of my favorite games ever.
Did you ever check out that Koppai Nation needs to go and check out? There's this new mod that changes the sprites, and it's really detailed. They did a really excellent job at making it so it's all Mario, and even like how in the the overworld there's like you see Tails and Robotnik and like Shadow Sonic or Metal Sonic and stuff, but they've replaced it all with like Wario and
3D?
yeah,
Wow.
3D, and it's amazing, and the detail is extraordinary, and it's really funny too, just like seeing Mario run super fast from like that behind view, and then like going up in the air and doing little flips and stuff, and it's like all completely replaced with Mario animation and like a really good like matching it in quality, and it's really cute and clever, and everybody's got to go check that out. So
Yeah,
just want
that
to throw that out there.
I love that. I was just recently listening to a thing by Todd Howard, who develops like Fallout and the Elder Scrolls game, just the head game director of Bethesda and stuff. And he was talking about like if you ever want, people were asking him how to get their foot in the door with game development, and he said to do things like that, to just mod games. And it's
Yeah.
interesting to see those tools develop and stuff. That's gonna be an exciting future. I love that mods are starting to come to consoles and stuff. And it'll be interesting to see like how that develops and stuff. And I wonder if Nintendo will ever get that. That'll be a topic for another day because we have come to the end of Koppai Podcast, episode 11, 1-1. Um,
Mm.
uh, that was a fun podcast, a little bit lighter on the news, which allowed us to kind of dive into each thing a little bit more. And we did some new time management things, put little notes and stuff. And I think we stuck pretty close to schedule, which was really cool. We wanted to get out of here at about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, with just it being a shorter news week, and we did pretty well. So hopefully you guys appreciated that kind of pacing of things and our kind of ambition to get that more streamlined for all of you, with a little bit more in-depth and organized discussion. We're just continuing to refine things over on the Kaz Risk Games Cast with Koppai and Nuka Cast. And so if you did enjoy Koppai Podcast episode 11, or if you've enjoyed any previous Koppai podcasts, or if you're excited for what's going to come, go down to the subscribe button and click it, and you'll be notified through your YouTube app, whatever, email, anything you want. I think you can change that in your settings, but you'll be notified somehow, some way, when I post a video of Koppai Podcast, of NukaCast, of Super Mario Maker Let's Plays. If you want me to play your Super Mario Maker level, you can leave your course ID down below. It's just a nice way for you to be able to keep track of all that content. And also, if you're listening on SoundCloud, you can click the follow button where we upload the Koppai podcasts early. We upload them Sunday nights, usually really in order to get them up for Monday. And so there's no way to make that scheduled and released on Monday. And so you just go ahead and get them early on Sunday night if you're up really late. And so that's a cool way to get it early. And also over on iTunes, if you search for Koppai Podcast or Koppai by itself or the Casualist Games Cast, you can find it there. Leave a like or review or whatever it is on iTunes. And we greatly appreciate the support. And we're just eager to continue to spread this podcast out and get more views, and so we can grow the Koppai Nation and really kind of just do some fun things with that as we grow through giveaways, through community gaming sessions, and things like that. We really want to feed this nation and feed this idea because I think it has a lot of potential, and I think it's been really fun, and I think people have been enjoying it that have
Yeah.
listened to it. And so we're getting to the 50-minute mark, and so we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. But Zach, is there anything you want to say to close us
I
out?
just want to say thank you, Bill Trinan, for listening, and I can't wait for you to actually come on the show. And our interview is going to be great, lots of fun, and uh, you know, see you next time, Copa Nation. It's yeah, see you next week, next time. What if we even show up because it's Fallout 4? We
Yeah,
may never be back.
yeah, we'll be playing that game quite hard. We'll and this weekend's gonna be busy for me. I got offered a musician gig. I get paid for it, to be playing bass for that, and so I really wanted to say no because of
Yeah.
Fallout 4, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and say yes because I need money to pay for Fallout 4, especially since I'm getting like the super special edition and all that, and helping you out with yours. And so for your birthday, happy
Thanks.
birthday. So I made it to take that job, but that means I don't get to play Fallout 4, and we're going to record as well. So I honestly may not be able to play too much this following weekend. But regardless, we'll continue to supply Koppai for you for weeks to come. If we ever take a week off again, we apologize, but we'll always be back the week after. And we're also experimenting with the idea of maybe having some archived episodes, lost episodes, and kind of backlogged recordings of discussions like the console wars or Mario on mobile games and stuff like more vague topics, or even not necessarily vague, but more timeless topics is a better description for it. We'll have those coming in the future for weeks that we do have to take off. But yeah, be sure to catch all the Nintendo Let's Plays and everything I just said. And in case we don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Cool.
Pie!
Pie!
Koppai. Koppai.
Koppai.